Hi, I'm Pastor Kurt, and this is your 5-minute Bible study. Today, we're going to look at John chapter 19, verses 16b through 42. Now, the B just means the second half of that verse. This is the scene of when Jesus dies. Now, many of us are already familiar with this moment. We know about Jesus being crucified and dying, but we need to pay attention to the details, because the details is where the story really comes alive. This section begins when we hear about the inscription that Pilate put on the cross, the King of the Jews. Well, we also hear that some of the scribes and others saw the inscription and were like, no, you should have it say, this man said, I am King of the Jews, right? There's a difference. Don't make that claim for him, just say that he made that claim about himself. Well, Pilate replies by saying, what I have written, I have written. Now, Pilate probably put that inscription on the cross as a joke. Here is the King of the Jews. Look at how pathetic he is. He's suffering and dying. He is no king at all. Right? Reading that inscription on the cross, his intention, I imagine, was to make people laugh at Jesus. Laugh at him, at this humiliated king on the cross, right? This is not what a king should look like. But that inscription is true because Jesus is the king. And that's the very point, that he does not act like an earthly king would act. Think back to the conversation that he had with Pilate just a chapter before. Pilate asks him, are you a king? And they have this whole conversation about kingship and where Jesus' kingdom is, all that sort of stuff. So that is probably what propelled Pilate to write this, the King of the Jews. He's making fun of Jesus. But what he saw as irony is actually true. Now, in this scene, we also hear about Jesus talking a little bit. From the cross, he addresses the beloved disciple, and he tells the beloved disciple to take care of his mother, Jesus' mother. And then we hear that the beloved disciple does so, right? Jesus is looking out for Mary. Well, who is this beloved disciple? Traditionally, it's been assumed that the beloved disciple is John, the brother of James, the son of Zebedee. But the Bible never actually comes out and says that. Nowhere does it say the beloved disciple was so-and-so. So we kind of have to read a little bit closer to see who this person might be. It could be John, but we don't know that for sure. Another possibility, which I really like to consider, is that the beloved disciple could be Lazarus. Think back to the story of Lazarus. Jesus raised Lazarus from the tomb, that whole story, right? It is only after the story of Lazarus that we hear any mention of the beloved disciple. Now, why is that important? Well, because at the beginning of the story of Lazarus, when Jesus is first informed that Lazarus is about to die, he isn't just told, your friend Lazarus is about to die. We're told that Jesus loved Lazarus. So, it could be that Lazarus is the beloved disciple. Again, we don't have hard evidence of it, but there are some good textual points that can support that claim. Now, whoever this beloved disciple is, Jesus asks this person to take care of Mary. So here is Jesus, crucified on the cross, breathing his last few breaths, and what does he do? He looks out for his mother. Jesus wants to make sure that she is cared for. In that day, if you were a woman and you didn't have a husband, or your husband had died and your children had died, especially your oldest son, you were kind of out there on your own. right? Nobody in society would step up to take care of you. But the beloved disciple did, right? Jesus said, okay, beloved disciple, please take care of my mother. And this beloved disciple did so. Also in this scene, when Jesus is close to dying, we hear him say, "It is finished." There is no cry of, my God, why have you forsaken me?" We get that in some of the other Gospels. Here in the Gospel of John, Jesus is very much still in charge. He simply says, "It is finished," and gives up his spirit. Yes, he was suffering and dying on the cross, but he is still very much in charge. The scene wraps up when we hear that Nicodemus comes back to take care of Jesus' body. Now, if you remember Nicodemus, we heard about him way back in John chapter 3. We didn't hear much about him after that conversation, but he shows up again here to take care of Jesus, which tells us that now he's following Jesus. There's a lot of important details in this scene that we need to pay attention to. There's your 5-minute Bible study. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.